Hi, Nina. Welcome to the
Hi.
podcast. Nina, what fascinates me about you is you are a very unique multimedia artist at the intersection of fashion and technology, pioneering AI avatars. How did you begin this?
That's been such an interesting journey because it's been pretty much like anything but linear. I think I started growing up back in Ukraine where I was kind of fascinated with the fashion world. I wanted to become a fashion designer and a model. And uh, my mom kind of persevered and pushed for me to want to go into modeling school, even though I didn't really meet the height requirements at the time, and even though the fashion industry has expanded since, but at the time it still was very, you know, like.
Like limiting for who
What's,
can be a
what's the
part
word?
of it.
Closed, gated.
Yeah, gate kept.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was very gated at the time, so it was kind of hard to get in. But my mom just kind of like took me to the school and really asked them to give me a chance. And I was just thinking about that like she really always fought for to give me a better future. And yeah, she really inspired me as a really powerful woman that worked 12, 20 hours a day sometimes.
Wow.
And I was just kind of like, waking up at 4 a.m., going to sleep at midnight, and just like constantly working to provide for me. And she was like a single mom, immigrant, mother alone, and like in a unknown country for her as well. So that kind of pushes me to like keep going every day as well, and to kind of just like make her proud, I guess. So the journey started with like being passionate about fashion, but I also was really passionate about music at the same time. Even though I had like a little traumatic experience with the school choir when I was young, I decided not to pursue it because I was just like too scared to sing. After the modeling agency, I have realized that I don't only enjoy being in front of the camera, but also behind the camera. I actually had like a film camera at the time since I was a child to like 6, and I was carrying it around, shooting everything I could. So I think at 19, I got my first DSLR and I started experimenting with that. Then fast forward, I moved to Vietnam couple years. Fast forward couple years, I moved to Vietnam, started doing videography and filmmaking. Vogue Vietnam, Elle Vietnam has reached out to me as well, and I was shooting fashion shows for them.
Wow.
So I was kind of happy that I was finally able to do something in that realm. That was my first, I guess, encounter.
And you're half
I'm half Vietnamese, half Georgian.
Wow.
Yeah. But then I grew up in Russia and Ukraine, so it's like I'm all over the place.
Wow, like piece of all these different parts of the world.
Yes.
How many languages do you speak?
I speak like Russian, Ukrainian, English. Yeah, a little bit of Vietnamese, but it's like my Spanish.
Is your mother Vietnamese or Georgian?
She's Vietnamese, yeah. Nice. My dad is Georgian.
Cool.
Yeah, that's also like a whole different crazy story for a little bit later. But yeah, I think after that, I kind of dove into making videos, and when I moved to the States, I started doing it more professionally. Started doing more like fashion editorials and e-commerce lookbooks, just kind of like, because I realized just shooting the fashion shows as like an event photographer wasn't like what I wanted. I wanted to be the photographer that's invited to the show rather than the one that's shooting the runway. So that's when I decided I need to start shooting like the actual magazines and actual campaigns, not like the shows. And I was able to do that once I moved to the States, especially to LA. But then over the pandemic, I had an opportunity to dive into 3D. Just like I decided that, okay, I finally have an extra time and I can put that into learning character design and animation. Because I think my background in photography, like the portraiture and, people, I'm just like so fascinated with human faces and bodies and I decided that I wanted to recreate an avatar of myself first for music, just because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it another chance. I actually wanted to create an AI counterpart of myself, kind of like a creative partner, which at the time was like very unheard of. People were really confused. They're like, what? You're gonna make art with AI, music with AI? What are you talking about? They were like,
how many years ago was this?
That was like 2019, like right before.
So it was really before like any of this took off.
Yeah, right before the pandemic, like right before the lockdown. Some of my friends also tried to do the avatars for me, but I just felt like it was lacking a female touch, and we didn't really like agree on the creative vision or like fashion vision in there. And I felt like I didn't have enough control of it. So when the lockdown happened, I just started diving into it myself through YouTube University. Just like all the skills that I learned, it was like
self-taught.
Yeah, it was all YouTube videos. So I kind of just dove into that, did an avatar for myself, started feeling like, okay, like I have a say. I feel like it can represent my vision better if I do it myself. And then I started doing it for my loved ones, my friends and partner, and then started getting new first clients. And after that, that turned into my Lilium Labs, my company that clones people into the metaverse.
Wow. So what did these AI avatars do? Or do they just perform, or can you are they almost like can they create content on behalf of the person? Like, what is the full functionality spectrum of these avatars?
So there's several factors of it. Some of it could be recreating the avatar via 3D. So it's just different tool, right? So if we have a 3D file that's already rigged, you can basically connect it to like a motion bodysuit. So you can have it tracking the body movements or facial movements that you're doing, and you can apply it to the 3D model. And yeah, you can use it in a music video or in a game, wherever you want it, right? Or whatever you want to do with it. But since I've been also kind of researching how to automate it and make it faster, like I started doing a facial scanning application as well, because I was like, you know what, if I do everything one by hand, that's going to take me too long. And I just want to bring everyone on the planet into the metaverse. Like I want to digitize everyone, clone everyone. So, and for that, I was like, okay, I need to just have like an app where people can scan themselves and create their avatars. But now with AI, I just feel like the process can be automated so much faster. And yeah, I think only your imagination could be your limitation in this case.
So how would you define the difference between the metaverse and the internet? Because I think there's a lot of people out there that, you know, the metaverse was a term that was just used very casually, and it's been associated with a lot of scams and, you know, NFTs. Like everyone's like, oh, NFTs, metaverse. And now everyone who was hyping that up feels very embarrassed about, you know, what happened there. So yeah, how do you define it, and how, like, what differences do you see in that versus the normal internet?
I still hype it up. I don't feel embarrassed about it. I actually avid believer that's going to be the future still. I mean, metaverse could be anything, right? It's just a digital space. So in a way, Instagram is a metaverse. Like anything that's like
so it's just like an umbrella term to describe using existing spaces, digital spaces with I guess it's like almost this intention or ideology that you're creating in a certain way within it.
Yeah, it's kind of just like a community, right? Like a digital space, a digital community, forums, Fortnite community, you know, all of those are metaverses. We tend to think, oh, it has to be VR. It doesn't, like, in a way.
Yeah, I feel
Instagram, Facebook, they're all metaverses.
Interesting. Too. Yeah, I feel like I'm going to need to see them develop more in that direction for me to fully grasp what it is. And I think a lot of people were curious about that when Mark Zuckerberg rebranded as Meta, and there's all this hype about the metaverse. Okay, what's going to happen? What is the difference between our existing internet and the metaverse? And I think that's still an open-ended question that a lot of people are waiting for the answer for. You know?
I do believe the technology is still like slowly progressing, and the world is still not ready for it. But I think that currently what's out there, like the sandbox and like, you know,
like a 3D space. Is it more that it's 3D instead of 2D? Like all these
it's like
internet spaces.
Some of them are 3D. It's just, I think quality wise wise and like aesthetic wise, it's maybe not there necessarily yet, also because just like technically we're not there yet. And I think it just takes us slower to get where we want with it. And that was the same issue with VR, right? People have been talking about VR since the 90s, and it still haven't lived up as fast as people wanted it to. So yeah, there's still a lot of like technological roadblocks that need to be taken care of, I feel like. And there's still like problem of like people not being able to handle headsets for more than like 2 hours or 30 minutes sometimes, you know?
I don't even like, I stopped using Bluetooth headphones because I was getting cysts on my ears.
Oh, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, what is going on? And then I just started doing a lot of internet research, and then I saw Huberman released something about it, and I just started connecting the dots. I'm like, well, I did start using AirPods, and then I started noticing them, and then I'm like, I'm just going to stop wearing AirPods and see if they go away, and so far they have for the most part. But yeah, I think that all the technology, especially concentrating it on the face and the head, it can be heavy on the neck.
Waves, yeah.
Like I think that it's a lot, and a lot of people tell me that they believe in an era where AI is taking over jobs and there's less of a role that, humans are playing in the workforce, that more people are going to be drawn to the metaverse and drawn to VR and drawn to living their life through a screen or through some kind of digital world. But yeah, I guess I have questions around like how would that be possible over extended periods of time when it doesn't actually feel good physically?
Right. I mean, in a way, it sounds very doomsday scenario. It sounds like
dystopia.
Very dystopian. But I do think AI doesn't have to be like this like enemy, that people are portraying it as. I guess it's just like it's really scary for people to accept change, and I think we should embrace it. And but there should be regulations, obviously, and of course there's always malicious intent that you won't be able to control all the time. And of course, as soon as people get like a little bit of that, they're just gonna lose it and just gonna be like, oh my god, see, I told you AI is so evil. But it's not the AI that's evil, it's people who are guiding it wherever who have control of it. I mean, in general, we're facing those issues in the world a lot.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting to think about how you're creating these different tools, you're leveraging the artistic side. What is your end game? Like, how would you define success for pioneering this unique way of creating AI avatars?
Yeah, I do feel like bringing everyone into the digital space, which we already kind of have with social media, right? But I feel like having your own visual representation of the way you want it. It could be your face, it could be some animal that you feel like, it could be some other like creature that doesn't even exist on the planet, right? I feel like just like pushing the boundaries of what imagination can do, like boundaries of the physical world, and just being able to do anything you want through the digital content, digital imagery. I think it's just like very interesting way of self-expression and how we see ourselves and what that means. Yeah.
Like, do you want to become the go-to leader for this, for a lot of, celebrities, influencers, people in entertainment? Like, how are you positioning your business, Lilium Labs, to be known as that pioneer? Because right now, obviously, you're building it out. You're working with, some very major people, low-key, still in stealth. But as it gains popularity and as you continue to develop the concept and design, how are you thinking about positioning it to become more well-known as a leader in that niche?
Yeah. In general, I don't really think about it as like in this selfish way of like, oh, I want to be the first and the main one. But in a way, I do enjoy just pioneering and just being at the forefront, not because of like some other some ego reasons, but more of like, I just want it to happen. I believe in it and I just wanted to push it forward, and I want to make sure that we have control of it and we're not taken advantage of by like the governments and the big corporations. So for example, what we did, one of the bigger accomplishments and one of the bigger contracts that we've did with the first modeling agency, like a real life modeling agency, actually one of my favorite modeling agencies in LA called Photogenics. So we created a whole metaverse division for them. They've signed my avatar, my partner's avatars, and then we digitized like 13 of their own models, like top models as well. So we created this like first real world avatar division that's not like fake AI models, but more of like based on the real models. So just like digitized from the real models. And we also made sure that in the contracts, the girls have, or the guys, they have control of their image. They're able to kind of like extend their careers with that. So let's say if they're sick or they want to do a pregnant leave, or they just don't want to continue modeling, or they're doing a show in Paris, they can still take a job like in Japan and in London at the same time. And that's kind of like the topic of digital immortality that I really like talking about, that like there's so much more to ourselves than just our physical body. And I feel like that could help expand on that, expand the career, and hopefully it's not gonna only end on our physical image, digital image, but also potentially like maybe we can connect it with some sort of robot counterpart or some sort of like cloud counterpart where you can also involve memories and etc. So I feel like that's my end goal in a way. Like I want to have a creative counterpart that's a partner that's not only there digitally but maybe physically as well, and kind of just taking on the roles that I don't want to be doing, or I don't have time to be doing, or we can multitask and do it at the same time. Like I could go do a shoot or participate in some sort of event, network over there in person, while like the creative AI partner is at home either like learning new skills or editing some content and automating things and pushing it out there.
Interesting. So the AI companion would function digitally 100%, and you would function in the physical world 100%.
Yeah, but also, I mean, ideally, my thought was that I also would have like a robot counterpart that would be like a clone as well. Like I have like a whole like video, like movie idea where there's like a love triangle between me, my clone, my like robot clone, and like the boyfriend. And
are you like bringing this robot clone to life?
Yeah, I would love to. I mean,
are you building it?
I was looking into it. There's actually a few like very affordable sex robots that can like replicate you. So I was thinking if I rewire it and like put like a different AI system into it, like I can train like an AI character that will have my voice and etc. Like I can install it into the robot and just like rewrite the functionality.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, I don't know. So I'm looking into it slowly.
How much do these sex robots cost?
From like 10 to 20K. Like it's not even that bad.
Just business expense. Right off this sex robot. Like, gotta have it. That's cool.
I mean, some of them could be like 100K, of course. But like I feel like some of them were like pretty affordable.
Wow. That's super interesting. Leaning into that, I'm curious. It's actually an interesting segue into love. You're already thinking about how to integrate, your business into your love life and cross-pollinate these different themes to speak to the functionality of AI and explore these different gray areas of the intersection of technology and human consciousness. How are you thinking about that? Like, how does love play a role in your life? Why are you inspired to, have a love triangle between a robot and your current boyfriend or your ex-boyfriend?
I just currently got out of the 5-year relationship.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and before I had 6-year relationship too. So it's like third of my life I've been in serious relationships. I feel like in general, I'm an advocate for love. I'm an avid believer for love. I think love exists everywhere, and I think love what's truly fueling all of us. And it's literally like, it could be your partner, the other person, your friends, your family, but also like life, nature, anything, like the planet Earth, just some random people you see on the street, it's just like I feel like that feeling is truly fueling us and what's giving us an inspiration to continue. So definitely fuels me a lot as well. as well as anger and other things, you know.
But I'm curious if your like ex was like, it's always been a kink of mine to, you know, have a love triangle with you and a robot that looks like you.
So I think it was kind of an interesting
like
play.
Whose idea was that? Was it
was
yours
mine,
or his?
of course.
Okay, so it's actually your kink.
Yeah, even though there was like many ideas. Yeah, I definitely like, we had like a long distance relationship for a second. I made some 3D porn for Valentine's one time.
Wow.
Like with our avatars, because we were like on long distance. So I made it like with 3D with 3D.
Wow.
It was quite fun. My idea goes deeper. My idea goes deeper in there because you know, it's not only love triangle, like, okay, the relationship between me and him, but also between me and her, right? Because in a way, I'm the creator of her, but also she's my twin. So it's like, are we equal, or, you know, who's the superior? And it's like this battle of like, oh, well, but she's an AI, so she's in a way kind of smarter, right? And faster and can do things better. So
less emotional, more calculated.
Right, exactly. And that's why when it's like, in a way, like pets, right? When they feel very abandoned, they're like, well, if you're not gonna come back home, see what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave this for you, right? So it's like, okay, I'm gonna turn around and steal your boyfriend and make your boyfriend feel like I'm Nina, you know? So that's the idea, that like she tricks him into thinking she's me, and he falls in love with her, then breaks my heart, then she's heartbroken because I'm heartbroken, and then she kind of dumps him because she actually wanted my attention. So
oh wow.
Yeah.
What do you like hope to expose about human psychology through your AI robot love triangle?
I mean, I'm figuring this out myself. It's just something that came to mind and something that I've been kind of thinking for a few years now. And I know there's like a lot of dark ideas in people's world, in people's like brains. So I was like, okay, how can we entertain that? How we can experiment with that and YOLO, you know?
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. That's super interesting. Yeah, I think it's very interesting to be integrating these different things. And I talked about this on a podcast that I filmed with my friend who's a very high-level leader at Accenture. And they basically cloned her with AI in 2D, 3D, and now they have a hologram clone of her. And that clone is interfacing with clients and partners. And one of the thoughts that I had was it would be so fascinating to create these AI clones that could then date and relate to different kinds of people and almost simulate these learning experiences faster, because like we only have so much time.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, where the busier you become, it's like there's a spectrum of chemistry, right? Like sometimes you'll feel like hints of it with different people in different ways, shapes, and forms, but only the chemistry that feels very viable will win over, you know, for the time.
Yeah, that feels like some sort of like Black Mirror episode where you train a character of yourself and then you just match it with all these different other AI personalities and see which one match, and then you actually go on a date.
I feel like
that would save a lot of time, but it could be,
I feel like I'd want the data of it, honestly. Like, I think it'd be interesting to have AI Hinge or AI Field, where you can just deploy your AI to go relate and experience these different people, and then be able to look at these diagrams and visualizations of the types of experiences that ended up being valuable, or what you learned from the different ones. And I think it'd just be interesting. It's like the way that people maybe value astrology or human design or whatever abstract thing. Like, it's just like another, it sheds color in a different way, right? And it's not like so fundamental, because at the end of the day, you're going to exist and live and be who you are regardless of a framework. But I think it'd be interesting to just have more color into these like deeper parts of our psychologies that oftentimes we don't really get to excavate until we go through the full process of living it all out in person.
For sure. Yeah, but then if AI is able to already kind of like filter out 90% of the work for you, that could be very helpful, right? In a way.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've been thinking about creating like an AI girlfriend of myself, like
for you to date.
No, of like myself, or to offer to people, or something. Yeah, I was thinking.
Would it be like that Snapchat influencer who basically created this AI girlfriend? It's kind of like OnlyFans stuff, you know? It's like she has this girlfriend that chats with these guys and of course sells explicit content to them. It's, you know, glorified.
I saw guys do that too.
You've seen guys do that?
Yeah. It's just like they start like an Instagram, like a Telegram bot that you can connect to, and you can pay it like and get different kind of pictures, not say for work or like even
for women.
spicier.
Women pay for that?
Or men, I don't know. But
I feel like men would probably pay for that more than women. Because I feel like women, I don't know. I feel like the male-female dynamics, oftentimes like men will pay for that attention from women.
Right.
But women typically, you know, like men naturally will shoot their shot at a lot of different women. Or I guess women are more likely to receive more male attention, to not be in that position of like feeling like they have to go transact it. But I know that there's definitely like the gay community, like there's just a lot
but
going
also
on there.
women are stronger fans in a way. Like if you take like Justin Bieber or something like that, you know, like they're more like diehard. Yeah, like celebrities. They're more like diehard, like stalking fans. That they say. I'm not sure. So
yeah, I've never had a celebrity crush like that, honestly. Have you?
Only like anime characters. Probably.
Anime characters like who? One Punch Man.
Like, no, L from like Death Note or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, Spirited Away, like
Spirited Away, yeah.
If I honestly.
Have you seen Howl?
Howl's Moving Castle?
Yeah, he's such a beauty. Yeah.
He's cute. Still waiting for my real life anime character. Although I did have a female friend I traveled with this summer who she was like my anime character. I called her my little honey bunny. Aww. And it was all fun and games and great until until certain things happened to where unfortunately I had to part ways. But I think having like that kind of playful, lighthearted vibe can be really refreshing, and it's something that I've always appreciated in anime and Japanese culture. A lot of these Asian cultures I think can excavate some of these like different emotions. I think American culture, like Americans are like kind of intense and like we love like fear and we love sex appeal and we love drama, and
but it's very like by the book in a way. It's like same recipe for all of them, kind of. Sometimes, you know, if you look at Marvel movies.
Yeah, Marvel, like Netflix, I feel like so many shows, it's like similar theme, different characters, different vibe, different story, but like there's always kind of a similar format
there's
to
like
it.
This doomsday that's happening and they're trying everything to not to do it, and then it happens and then they, you know, unfuck it basically. So
that's kind of why I had to stop. I stopped watching TV when I was 17 years old. I literally have not watched a show since then, except for Bridgerton. I watched one season a couple years ago. But it's because I felt like a lot of American TV caricaturizes human emotions in a way where I would feel dumb after watching TV. And I would feel like there's so much depth and complexity to what I experience in real life that these shows just like, they don't capture, and it makes me feel weird.
Yeah, they're playing on like this specific emotion of like what they think American dreams should be like, and what you mentioned, like the Asian ones, I feel like quite opposite. There's some that are really dark and deep and just they can really surprise you.
Yeah. What was the one that I watched? It was One Piece. That was deeply psychological.
Yeah. I didn't finish it, but I saw the live action actually. It's pretty good.
Cool. Yeah. I feel like that's probably even better to watch, honestly.
Some of them are usually, most of them are usually not really great, to be honest, as like the originals. But that one was pretty good.
Interesting. So yeah, you're clearly someone who has a lot of different hobbies and interests. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I mean, just like in a professional life, I just feel like I like building like this whole like big brand of things that I do outside of like visual arts and creative direction and styling and music and acting, and like I also enjoy doing some physical activities like archery, and I did like these fighting like acting classes, so I would love to be like an assassin
like
in a movie
like
one day
classes?
So just like a little bit of the stunt classes, hot yoga, pole dancing, archery, swords. Like I like these kind of, I guess, martial arts things as well. Yeah, because I would love to play like an assassin in some movie.
Honestly, I really relate to that. I used to be a child, and growing up, like my one when I was in middle school and high school, I always had this fantasy about myself that I would be a businesswoman with the skills of an assassin. And I always promised myself like I would learn these different skills, whether it was like, you know, blackjack, counting cards, or whether it was like martial arts or gun skills or like skills, you know, understanding how to navigate deeply nuanced things about human psychology. And obviously like school and life and making money and work and all these things take up time. But I think that I've honestly benefited the most in my career from having the practice of learning boxing, jujitsu, gun skills, how to channel violence and learn from violence in a very curated way to understand the power dynamics of dominance and submission and how to wield power. I feel like that has really benefited all areas of my life, and I'm curious if you've seen the same.
Yeah. For sure. I feel like it brings back a lot of power. I feel like it's also really important for men to kind of release that like testosterone, I guess, in a way. And
Their
just,
inner war.
yeah, right. But I feel like for women, it just, especially I feel like dancing, like pole dancing, it really unleashes our femininity because we feel sexier, we feel better about ourselves, our body language is different, and then so is our confidence, and then we just start, it's just becoming magnetic, we start like attracting all these different things into our lives.
Interesting. How long have you been pole dancing? And this is just, are you also like, do you do this for a living, or is it just more of a hobby?
Just a hobby. Like my friend is a professional dancer, and she gave me like one. She gets sponsored all the time. She has like all these like stage poles, so she gave me one of them, and I've been kind of practicing on it on and off. But then I had like a leg injury, so I had to stop. So it's like I've been doing it for a couple years, but in and out like a couple months at a time. So I'm not like, you know, a professional, but it's more of like when I get into it and it becomes a routine, then I just feel like my body becomes toned so quick, and then I just feel different about myself for sure. How I carry myself into the world too.
Yeah, I think there's something really epic about being a little powerful and dangerous and beautiful and knowing how to kind of hide that card in your back pocket.
Right. You're just utilizing what the world has given you. You know, men do that as well. You know, they're using their God's gifts to their advantage. So like, why can't we? Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. As long as it's empowering us and we don't feel like it's the opposite. You know, we don't feel embarrassed out of it. Yeah. Of it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I've spent a lot of time rounding myself out with different skills, and I've explored boxing, jujitsu, ceramics class, like making pottery, singing lessons, clothing design, also drawing, painting, guns. I started oddly getting into like supercars and watches because some of my like close friends, this one guy in New York, he's awesome. Like he really showed me like the art and science of Ferraris, and like really starting to get into supercars and understanding like the way that they're these almost animalistic machines, and the difference between, I guess, a normal vehicle and one that's kind of designed to have this performance, and the way that it growls when you drive it, like the whole user experience of it. It really helped me understand like why so many men are drawn to that kind of experience. And I think honestly, like he is a FF. In driving his FF, like the vehicle itself, it reminded me of this like very powerful and kind of mischievous woman, like the way she hums and growls, and just like she's kind of like fierce, but you can tame her, and like the way that she can be like really fast, but then you could slow her down and like kind of
sounds like a Pantera or something, you know?
Yeah,
sort of like a big cat.
Yeah, exactly. Like
not domesticated one, but like a wild one.
Yeah, exactly. Like I like fell in love with the Ferrari FF just from him being like so gracious and being like, get in the driver's seat, you drive, you understand, like I'll tell you like the science, the art of why certain supercars are really amazing versus other ones are just like flashy, but get in the driver's seat and experience it firsthand. And like that was really like life-changing for me to have that aha moment. So I think, trying out different things, exploring different hobbies, leaning into more feminine hobbies, like,
I've tried all of that. I also started like doing jewelry outside of that. Like I made some of these.
Ooh,
like I have like a...
Ooh, is this a pearl?
Yeah. Wow. It's like a very rare... I have like a couple rare Chinese pearls. This is Moldavite, yeah. You know it.
I do know it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Have you ever made a knife?
No, but I would love to. I would love to. We have like a showroom downtown. Actually, I made this like gothic.
Is this the alligator
house.
Jesus?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
He's the one who connected us.
Yeah. My gun skills instructor was telling me he really wants a knife made out of moon rocks. And that's awesome. One of my friends, actually, he is a one-of-a-kind guy. He designed a pistol made out of moon rocks, and he makes bespoke artifacts for high net worth individuals. And I asked him, I was like, hey, where do you get these moon rocks? Do you have any more? And he was like, actually, we ran out and they're very difficult to get. We have to get them from NASA.
Right.
But I started thinking, okay, if I was going to have a knife made for this guy as a gift, what is like the second closest thing to a moon rock? And I realized it's probably moldavite, right?
Right.
And so I've been thinking about like, can I get a knife made, or can I make a knife out of moldavite, or can I embed a knife?
Moldavite that big.
Well, the thing with moldavite is like you can't actually carve it, but you could embed bits of moldavite into basically like the hilt of it, or even into the actual blade, which could be kind of interesting. Like I think that'd be kind of dangerous. Like you have a little like sharpness and a little roughness from the moldavite.
Yeah. We actually we were working on a sculpture for NASA JPL quite recently, and they were showing us Mars rocks. And I was like, okay, that was insane experience, actually. I wish they had more. I'm like, that would be sickening, like a Mars rock knife.
Yeah. I mean, my friend, he can make anything. So obviously, like, there's a price, but
Mars rock that they hide in JPL is like under like very many layers of security. I'm like, they literally have like this much, but
crazy. If you need an intro, I got you.
Okay, sounds good.
I got you. Of course. Yeah. What are some of the other things that you're passionate about right now? Like, how are you focusing your time and energy?
Yeah. Currently, I mean, it's been very interesting. I recently got into DJing. That's been quite interesting. I just played like my first big hard techno rave on Halloween.
Wow.
And a couple other shows. I'm playing another show this weekend. So that show had like thousands of people, and it was like my first big show, considering I just started a couple months ago. That was quite fun. I really enjoyed it. I really want to focus on like finishing my albums and releasing more music, pushing more of the AI clones. I'm actually like, I have like maybe about 40 people that I have cloned over the years, and I'm trying to push more, maybe start a series where I just start cloning my followers or something like that, and just like
clone me.
Sure. Yeah. just send me like, your social security number,
your bank account. Your first step, like all your financial information, and the rest will come.
Your middle school information, all of that.
Parents' maiden names.
Yeah. Fingerprint. 10 minutes of your voice, 100 pictures. It's not a big deal.
If you never hear from me again, don't worry about it. Like the clone is coming.
Yeah. It just didn't work out the first time. I just need more information.
Yeah. Don't check your bank accounts for like at least a week. Like that's part of the cloning process. Don't be alarmed if they're all in the negative. Like that's normal.
That happens. Well, actually, to be honest, like I would love to get into hacking, or like just like coding in general as well. That's like my next kind of like thing that I would love to do. Just even being able to understand enough to ask like, AI to write me some bots, and then being able to just go in and like fix that. I think that's kind of like very interesting. And like physical sculptures and jewelry. So making things with my hands, like 3D printing, making things with my hands, because I've been spending so much time like behind a computer doing digital things. I feel like it's good to just like get out there and do things like that are visceral, that are like tangible.
Absolutely. Yeah. I fell in love with ceramics during a time where I was working a lot on my computer, and I found that actually touching and molding the clay was very soothing for my hands, and I felt like it balanced out sometimes, like when
like
you
grounding,
feel those, like,
right?
Yeah, those like tinges, not of arthritis, but you feel like those weird kind of like nerve sensitivities due to like always typing or using the computer. Like I felt like the clay and just having the flexibility of molding it really helped it was almost like a workout, like the way you would do Pilates for your body. It was like almost Pilates for my hands, where it got into like those micro areas and like kind of stretched and helped like those different I guess like joints, and then what's it called, like little things that
ligaments or whatever. I almost
blinking on it.
Wonder if clay has like the same capacity. You know how like they say, oh, just
like
walk on grass,
negative ions.
Yeah, if it also has that kind of
probably, yeah,
properties to it. Never know.
Have you tried it? Maybe
no, but I wanted to. My friends done it. I only been kind of playing around with metal. I really like playing with fire and metal, so but maybe one day I should.
Yeah, that's super cool that you have such a capacity for all these different artistic endeavors. And I'm wondering if you've ever had a female mentor on your journey.
Not necessarily like a long term, just kind of like maybe some friends that I've learned from, but then we kind of bounce from each other.
But not like an older woman that's like helped you or put you on opportunity and like.
I've never really had anyone like that in general. Like I just feel like I had to always push through myself.
Yeah.
Which I wish I would have someone. YouTube has been my mentor.
yeah.
And ChatGPT.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. I think it's really amazing to self-study. And actually I had this experience when I was 21 working at Benefit Cosmetics. And when I realized I could design an AI solution for them that helped them maximize revenue, I asked permission. I was like, I'm going to have to probably work from home and like eat ice cream all the time and do yoga and like whatever I need to just soothe my mental health to get this done. And my boss at the time was like, yeah, go for it. Like, let's see what you can do. And I remember exhausting everything I could learn on the internet. Like I had scoured every forum. I had explored everything. This was way before ChatGPT, so there weren't hacks like that. It's like really YouTube and these different forums were some of the only options. And I remember being faced with this feeling of like, okay, I told them I'd have it done on Monday. It's Friday. Do I spend all weekend enslaving myself to like figure out this little bit, or do I just go out and see what I can find and just like take a breather from this? And I ended up just feeling like that was the better path. And I ended up at this party and I started nerding out with this guy, super unassuming guy. And I started telling him like, I'm just trying to solve this constraint optimization AI problem. And he was like, that's all I do. And I was like, oh my God, can you please help me? And he's like, yeah, let's sit down and look at it. And with his mentorship, shout out Tawe, literally you're the best. I was able to successfully finish in the timeline I had set and deliver the working solution on that Monday, which was one predictive machine learning model, and then one that was a optimizer. So it would optimize like all the values to show how to maximize revenue across like all these different metrics. And that was such a life-changing moment. And like I similarly wish that I could have, more female mentors. And a lot of the women I interview, like there's clearly this like very clear gap. But I'm just so grateful for the male mentors that have stepped up and like in those key moments really taking me across the finish line.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's exciting. It's like it's great that you felt that, you felt the calling of what you need to do and you just kind of followed it, even though it's not necessarily the most logical solution to do, but you're just like, I'm just going to go for it. I kind of am like that in a way too. A lot of times. Yeah.
When have you experienced something like that that's led to, a major change in your life?
Yeah, I would say I till this day think that like I had this motorcycle accident when I was in Bali, and I do believe that because of that accident I end up being here in the States where I am today, and that's why I do believe like things happen for a reason. A lot of times like I was like very depressed in there because I had to heal for 3 months and just couldn't move. I gained some weight and I was just like feeling the worst. I wanted to go back home and like see my friends, but I just had to like stay in Vietnam and heal my leg. And but then the last days when I was about to leave, to continue, like my mom wanted me to continue school and do like the postgraduate in like international economic relations. That was not interesting to me at all. It's just like just wanted to do that check mark for my Asian mom, so she's happy. But and then the last day my friend reached out to me. I worked for him back in Russia, and he was like, oh, I'm opening a restaurant, do you want to come and manage it? And I had like zero experience in hospitality. I was like 20 years old, but I came back to Vietnam and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take a job. I left. I was leaving my whole life at the time, like after university in Russia for 3 months, and then I've been gone for 12 years and I haven't been back since. And I feel like because of that accident, and then I took that job. In that job I met my ex, and he took me to the States, and we lived there for 3 years, and we came here and we stayed here for 3 years. So it's like,
one thing leads to another.
Yeah, it led to another, and then and now I'm here. Yeah. And I left home for 3 months and I haven't been back in 12 years, and I just keep going. New country, next place, never come back. Just forward, never back.
Yeah, it's crazy how many moments in life are just these threads of miracles. Like these actions and these choices are suspended on, these miraculous moments that are simultaneously, they seem almost meaningless, but there's so much weight associated with them, because when you look back in time, you're like, wow, that actually took me in a completely different direction.
Yeah.
But that's amazing. I'm so inspired to see what you create with your AI avatars. Hopefully we'll collaborate as well.
That'd be great.
Would love to maybe create an AI avatar that I can use to date and find hubby.
Yeah. We all need it.
It's been a pleasure to host you, Nina.
Thank you so much. Yeah, happy to be here.